Okay, very good morning to all of you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm collaborating with you to take up your course, which is computer networks. So computer networks, so you can just see the screen here, wherein I have just shown you the syllabus of computer networks. Uh, so, I mean, to do the lab of computer networks, you need to have familiarity with C programming, because all the programs that I'm going to conduct for the computer networks will be in C programming. So brush on with your C basics, because for the lab sessions, for the initial lab sessions of computer networks, I'll just make you work with certain examples of C programming. And then after checking your proficiency in C programming, we can just get into the concepts of computer networks. Okay, fine. Coming to the theory part of computer networks, so this is all that's there. So in the first unit, we'll be looking into what is the data communication. So we'll be looking into the components. There are 5 components, and then how the data is represented in a network, and what are the various topologies, and then the protocols and standards, then the OSI model, and the TCP IP model. This is the first part of your unit 1. So in the first unit, we'll be looking into data communication, and then the first layer of the OSI model. So we'll be looking into all that is the content that is related to the physical layer. So in that, we'll be seeing the guided medium, and then unguided medium, and data performance and multiplexing and all that we'll be seeing in the second part. So from here, the OSI layers come into the picture. So first, from the bottom up, we'll be looking into the physical layer first, and then moving on into the second unit, we'll be looking into the data link layer, and then followed by in the third unit, we'll see like medium access sublayer. Then there are certain protocols over here. Each and every protocol is an algorithm, and each and every algorithm here is important. Third unit will be looking into these algorithms. So these algorithms maybe you will be using in your final year projects. So each and every algorithm with its pros and cons will be discussing in the third unit, and then followed by the next layer in the OSI, which is the network layer. So in here, we'll be seeing what are the internet protocols version 4 and version 6. Version 4 is the one like we are currently using, like 192 dot and all that we'll be giving. So which is the IP address. So each and every web information is identified with an IP address. So we'll be looking with the protocol, IPv4 protocol and IPv6 protocol, how many bits like IPv4 takes and how many bits IPv6 takes and all that. And then again, you can see like there are routing algorithms or routing algorithms over here. So in the routing algorithms, we can see like there are shortest path routing, and then flooding, and then hierarchical routing, and then broadcast routing, and multicast and distance vector routing. All these are protocols, algorithms, um, which are again there in your lab cycle also. Okay, like shortest path routing algorithm, all these are there. Distance vector routing algorithm, all these are there in your lab cycle as well. So these are the algorithms that you will be learning in the fourth unit. And coming to the fifth unit, again coming up from into the OSI model to the top layers. So this is the transport layer. So in the transport layer, we'll be seeing like what is TCP, which is transmission control protocol in detail, and then followed by SCTP, and then quality of service. How do you improve? Again, there are algorithms here to improve the quality of service. So the techniques are the leaky bucket technique, and then 2 algorithms are here. The first one is the leaky bucket algorithm, and the second one is token bucket algorithm. So we'll be seeing these 2 algorithms, which are again very important for your university examinations. So they can pop up as your 10 marks or 15 marks question. And then coming to the last unit, in the last unit, we'll be discussing the application layer. So which is the last layer of your OSI. So in here we'll be discussing what is domain name system. Like domain name system is nothing but you'll say google.com, right? So there is a name for a website. You say .com, and you also say .edu, .in, and all that. .in you say. So in represents India and all that. Com represents worldwide. So there is a certain way of naming the websites. So those all that concept come under the domain name space, and then wherein there cannot be any duplicate naming and all that. So we'll be seeing what is domain name space over here, DNS, and then we'll see what is telnet, and then email, and these are the protocols like which will be used by email, which is SMTP and POP3. And then file transfer protocol will be using two again a protocol which is FTP, and HTTP is also used for transferring the files from one computer to another computer. So these are all the 6 units, wherein all the 6 units are nothing but the layers of the OSI. Okay, so in the first unit, the physical layer, second unit, data link layer, and followed by the medium access sublayer, and then the network layer, transport layer, and the application layer. And so these are all your course outcomes. By the end of learning your computer networks, what you will be able to do, like you will be able to know what are the principles of networking protocols and standards, and you will be able to identify concepts of the layered architectures like the OSI and TCP/IP layers, and then you will also be able to identify the design issues, and then in the third outcome, like wherein you will be knowing different routing algorithms or the routing algorithms, and then you will be knowing the functionalities of the transport layer, and demonstrate how to control congestion. Congestion is like when two internet is like a traffic, like when you want to establish communication between two computers, obviously there will be congestion, or like it is like traffic jam, and how you will resolve the congestion, all that you will be learning in the transport layer. So that is again your course outcome 4, and then course outcome 5, like you will be knowing the basic techniques and protocols to connect devices. So these are all the 5 course outcomes which you will be learning after the completion of this course. First unit, after the first unit, like the first CO, you will be able to achieve the first CO, and second unit like the second CO, and the third unit third CO, and fourth unit fourth CO, and finally the fifth and sixth units. After finishing your fifth and sixth units, you will be learning your you will be achieving your course outcome 5. Okay, so this is regarding what you will be doing after finishing off your computer networks course. And the textbooks that are prescribed for your course are these 2 textbooks. The first textbook is Tannenbaum. So Andrew S. Tannenbaum, and the name of the textbook is Computer Networks. It's 8th edition, and the publication is Pearson. And the second book, like which I again gave in the lesson plan, is Behrouz, popular author. You can also see his books in data structures. One of my favorite books, I regularly study Horizon textbooks for the data structures. So he's a very renowned author, having his literature in the computer science and engineering wide textbooks. And then the name of the textbook is Data Communication and Networking, so which is again the 4th edition, and a lot of your syllabus is covered from the textbook too. Okay, so what I prefer telling you is, even if you don't get the first textbook, you get the second one. Okay, right. So this need to be there. Okay, so lot of your syllabus, all the syllabus is covered from the textbook 2, which is Horizon textbook, and okay, and which is 4th edition, and which is the publication of McGraw-Hill. So as you can see, the publication McGraw-Hill, it means that it is a standard textbook. Okay. Okay, so this is your lab. It is an integrated lab with operating system. So we'll be having computer networks and operating systems lab together. The first, so you're just having 6 experiments over here. In each and every week, like you're having 2 programs. The first one is like implement the data link layer framing methods for the character stuffing and for the bit stuffing. So I'll be dividing this into 2 programs. The first one will be the character stuffing and then the bit stuffing. So you'll be doing 2 programs in week 1. And then in the second week, we'll be seeing CRC and then the checksum methods. And then in the third week, we'll be implementing 1-bit error correction. So using Hamming code. And then fourth week, like we'll be implementing the distance vector routing algorithm. And then the fifth week, we'll be implementing the broadcast routing algorithm. And in the sixth week, like we'll be developing a simple chart for TCP application and then for the UDP application. So let me tell you like how you're going to do your computer networks lab. So you need to do it using Code Tantra. So you can just use your Code Tantra to finish off your lab cycles. Okay, so wherein I will be able to monitor how many of you have done the exercises and how many of you have not done the exercises. And so that is regarding your computer networks lab. For in your timetables, like we do have Monday and Thursday slots for the computer networks and the OS. So I have picked up the Thursday slots because I have the first hour, so I can just continue monitoring you. So I have taken the Thursday slots to be the computer network slots. Monday slots will be your operating system slots. Okay, so I hope this information is very clear to you. So that's it regarding the basic information regarding what you need, what is there in your computer networks theory part and your lab cycle. So the first unit is data communication. So I hope all of you remember data communication. So what is their components? So we'll be seeing what are the components and then representation of data and its flow. And then we'll be seeing networks and various component connection topologies, protocols and standards, OSI model, TCP IP model, then physical layer, guided media. So these are all the examples of guided media: copper, twisted pair, coaxial, fiber optic, coaxial and fiber optic cable. So all these are the guided media. Unguided media, electromagnetic spectrum. Then we'll be seeing data performance, multiplexing. In multiplexing, we'll be seeing frequency division and time division. So these are all the topics that we'll be seeing in the first unit. Okay, so what is OSI stands for is OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. Okay, right. OSI model. This is what we'll be seeing. So in your entire syllabus, we'll be looking into the OSI model. So the first unit part is data communication. So you know me, I already handled the Java to you and also object-oriented analysis and design lab for you. I'm Sudha Rani, associate professor in the department of CSE. So we have a certain association so far. So let us look into what is the syllabus in your first unit. So as I already have told you, shown you, so these are all the concepts, like we'll be seeing introduction to data communications, like the definition of data communications, and then we'll see what are the components of the data communication. These basics are very important. Anyway, I'll discuss all of this now in this class, and then we'll see the data flow, and then the networks, then the network criteria and the physical structures, then categories of network, then the protocols, elements of protocols. Protocols are nothing but set of rules, and anyway we'll see all that definitions. Okay, so routing algorithms are nothing but like the graph algorithms. In your data structures you have seen graph algorithms, right? So wherein connection between nodes is nothing but a graph. So it can be connection between 2 computers or 3 computers, which is represented as a graph. And you need data structures to actually work through finding out the path or whatever. So this is all the table of contents for the first unit. So let us see what is computer networks and its definition, which means that two or more computers, it is like two or more computers that are connected with one another. Like what is the purpose of connecting to a computer is to transfer information or to gain information. Okay, so I want like two friends communicate. Why do they communicate? Somebody is transmitting information, both transmit information and gain information from communication. So in the similar way, like we are having two or more computers that are connected with one another for the purpose of communicating data electronically. So here the purpose of sharing information, if I just have to give it in a simple words, it is like computer networks is communication between computers, two or more computers, and the purpose of having a network of these two, more than two computers together, is to share information. Okay, so this is the basic definition of a computer network. Again, definitions are very important. So you need to tell me what is computer network if I ask you anytime. So this is another definition that I have put up, keeping in view of the current scenario. So this is the basic definition that will be there in your textbook. So this is the definition which is framed to fit into the current scenario. So computer networking refers to connecting computing devices. So what can be a computing device? It can be a laptop, it can be a desktop computer, or it can be a server, it can be a smartphone, or it can be tablets or anything. Okay, and an ever expanding array of IoT devices. IoT devices are like camera sensors, right? Okay, so it can be a camera, or it can be an a surveillance camera, or it can be a door lock, or it can be a doorbell, or it can be a refrigerators, or it can be audio visual systems, or it can be thermostats, which is a sensor, and various other sensors as well. Okay, so all these are considered to be IoT devices that communicate with one another. Okay, so this is computer networking. For example, so here we have ponds, okay, prawn ponds and fish ponds, wherein the oxygen levels in the water is very important. So if the oxygen levels in the pond drops, what happens is all the prawns will die, and then which results in a financial crisis of the farmers. Okay, so they are actually prawn farmers and the fish farmers, and there will be a huge loss, because if one prawn die, everything will die. Okay, and the same thing can happen with the fish. So what they did is they have they have put an IoT sensor inside the water to actually check. The purpose of the IoT device is to actually monitor the oxygen level. So it keeps on it keeps measuring, sensing the oxygen levels. When the oxygen level drops, now what happens is this IoT device will communicate to the mobile phone of the farmer. Okay, telling that the oxygen level have dropped. So what there can be some measures, like the farmer can actually switch off, tell somebody that oxygen levels is down near the pond, or else he can actually increase, like there can be measures to increase the oxygen levels in the ponds. So here there is a communication between the sensor which is put inside the water and the mobile phone of the farmer. So what is this? This is like two computers or two IoT devices or two computing devices are connected in a network, and they're exchanging information. So like the sensor is actually sending information to the mobile phone, which is nothing but a text message, which is like the levels of oxygen. Okay, so which is nothing but a computer network. So this is all what is happening. For example, another example can be like the sensors for a home. Like we keep sensors inside the home, like in case if any intruder enters into the house, breaking down the house, then what happens is an alarm can an alarm can rise, or a message to 100 can be dialed. Okay, and the information can go to there can be on robo voice, which can actually tell the police people the address of where the breakdown have happened, like the house breakdown have happened, and then the police can come and catch the intruders. So all these are nothing but in a network. So wherein the sensors, like the breakdown, whenever there is a breakdown, so the sensors detect it and then send some message to some other computer which is in a remote location. Okay, so all these are nothing but computer networks, like two or more computers connected together, so that what is the purpose of being connected together is to share information. In the same way, like you are able to share information, you are able to send email from one person to another person, you are able to send an email. Okay, so your WhatsApp again is a communication between different devices. All these are the applications that we do are using, and that is nothing but computer network. So here is a pictorial representation of what is a network. So ISP is nothing but internet service provider. So there will be a person who will be providing the ISP, who will be providing the IP addresses. So you can only access internet through an IP address. So the IP addresses are of two types. One is private and public. Anyway, we'll be looking into these classes in the later sessions of your computer networks course. So as of now, you just imagine that ISP is the internet service provider. If you want to enter into a computer network, you need to have an IP address, and the IP address will be given by an ISP. If you want to know that whether your mobile phone is in the internet or not, open Google in your mobile phone and type my IP address. Without an IP address, you cannot enter into a computer network. So that is for sure. So even for your mobile device, I am in the college and I'm connecting to my computer is connected in the network, and your computer, your mobile phone or your laptop or whatever is again connected to in the internet. I also have an IP address. Even your mobile phone or your computer also have an IP address. To check your IP address, you can simply type in my IP address in Google, which will actually show you that. If you want, I can do that and show you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just typing in my IP address. So you can see that what is my IP address is opened over here, and you can see like the location is shown over here. So can you see the location? So it is showing the location. It's in Andhra Pradesh. So it is showing me the map over here, the Google map over here. And what is my IP address? My IP address is 112.133.222.158. So you can see that so there are 4 numbers here which are separated by a dot. So this is IPv4 address, and IPv4 address will be something like this. Okay, so which will be having 4 numbers. I'll talk about what are these 4 numbers and all that when I discuss IPv4. So you can actually detect, and this is a public IP address 112.133.222 and all that. So even you can type this in your a mobile phone or your computer, and you can see your IP address. Okay, well, fine. Getting back to this particular diagram, so you can see like this IP address is got from the internet service provider, who will be giving a public IP address, and you can see that you can connect it to the internet through a Wi-Fi or through a wire. Okay, so this is an Ethernet. Ethernet is a wired connection. Wi-Fi is a wireless connection. So these are like opposite of each other. So you can see like there is a computer connected, a printer connected in a network, and also a PlayStation connected, and a mobile phone, a smartphone, and a desktop computer. So anything can connect to an internet. So I hope everybody understood what is a computer network, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
So can I get one more confirmation from the girls?
Yes, ma'am.
One more?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So this is computer network. So now let us look into what are the advantages of computer network. Okay. So the advantages of computer network are the first one is central storage of data. So files can be stored on the central node, and which is called as a file server, and different computers connected to this particular server can share the information. Okay. So can be shared and made available to each other and every user in an organization. So you can put the data on a server, and all the computers that are connected to this particular server can access the information. Okay, all at the same time, anybody can access the information. So this is one of the advantage of computer networks. And next one is anyone can connect to the computer network. Even kids can connect it. connect to the internet, and it is very simple. Okay, you don't need to be a computer professional to actually connect to an internet. Even my kids connect to the internet very simply. Okay, so this is again another advantage. And then coming to reliability, so reliability is like, for example, if you're having, you can actually back up the data when the systems are connected. Like you can have replicas of the information. Say I can make 3 duplicates of the same data, put it in 3 servers. In case if one server is crashed, so I can get the data from another server. Okay, so that through internet or through computer network only that is possible. Okay, fine. So that is again another advantage of computer network. And next is security through authorization. One thing is like we are saying like anybody can get into the internet. But when you want to make this information accessible to specific people, you can actually give authorizations. Like for example, your ECAP. Okay, so everybody cannot access your ECAP. Only the persons who are having the logins and the credentials, valid credentials, can only access the information, ECAP information. So security is provided through authorizations. So specific people only can access the specific information. So that is also possible when you are connecting computers in a network. So these are all the advantages of the network. So in tomorrow's class, we'll continue with the rest of the part. We'll see what is data communication, and then we'll see what are the components, and all that will be continuing in the next class.